Busy week for me.
Wow.
Folks, welcome to the chat. I don't think anybody's here yet. That's okay. Welcome to Wednesday night chat. Patrick is busy with his personal things. He might pop in. I don't think so. I don't think he will, but you never know. Never say never. And
Right.
he might finish with his business things and pop in at 7:45.
Hey, whenever.
Same thing with Dr. Von Schiller. He might pop in whenever. Uh, he might be taking a nap right now.
Yes.
Doc is not feeling well. So if those that want to send him positive vibe, you could. He's in a little bit of dilemma as far as health wise, as well as family health. Not his direct health, his family direct health.
Yes.
Yickety yakety, hello. So Anthony, tell me, how far was it for you to drive?
Oh, well, as some may know, I went to Heroes Con last week, and from New Jersey to Charlotte, from where I'm at, New Jersey, took about almost 10 hours.
Okay, so now did you drove by your? Did you do all the driving, or did your wife help out a little?
My wife helped out a little bit. I drove first, then she drove for a little while, then I drove again. And then she finished the trip the first time. But the second time going up, I drove most of it.
Yeah.
I mean, the drive. I mean, I would do it again. I mean, because I had that much. I enjoyed the ride. I enjoyed the con and all that. The thing about the ride is, for me, after the 6 hours, 7 hours, no big deal. But once you get past to that 7 hour mark, it's like, oh God. It's like, oh, it's 6 o'clock. Then it's 6:05. Then it's 6:15. I'm like, ugh, I'm not going to be there until 8:30. What's going on? So those last few hours, they dragged.
Yeah, and was a drive like pretty much like a flat line, no.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. No traffic going and no traffic coming back.
Wow.
Where I'm at, I live close to Pennsylvania, close to Philadelphia, so sort of close. So the directions I took were the Pennsylvania Turnpike to 81, and 81 is like 300 something miles down until we have to take another road, which takes us into Charlotte. So it's pretty much a straight drive of highway. I've always heard of Waffle Houses.
Yeah,
I've heard of it.
Waffle House.
I like waffles. We stopped by there. I said, "Oh, let's stop by." Took a little. My wife, she was expecting these giant Belgian waffles. So
no, Waffle House is pretty lame.
I enjoyed it though. I enjoyed it. But I'll tell you something though. Listening to some of the people chat in a Waffle House, some of the conversation, I was like, oh, jeez.
Yeah, there was one Waffle House in Sarasota. It closed.
Okay.
Now, did you see a lot of crates and barrel?
Yes, we did. Yes, I did.
Yes. That's it's given. Okay, trust me. I've done enough driving in my lifetime to see. I'm telling you, I'm pretty much like you, but I trust myself more than my wife as far as driving. Even though she would disagree because my wife is famous for being the armchair, what do you call it, quarterback?
What is that? I know what you're talking about. I forgot it now.
Yeah. Watch out!
Yeah, I have to admit though, that's me when my wife drives. Like I'm like, slow down. There's a curve coming.
My wife is famous to shout out, something is behind you.
Like what?
No, I'm completely blind. Okay, but even so, like when I drove to Atlanta,
yeah,
it was a 9 hours. So, and I did both way. I did everything by myself, but that's about my limit. Okay, and which I stopped twice each time.
Okay. Out at a Waffle House?
No, we went to. Actually, we want to go to Crates and Barrel, but when I'm driving, I'm in a hurry to get there.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I got you. Home. I like Crates and Barrel. You had to sit down and order from a menu and all that stuff, right? And I'm just like, I just want to get there. I'm just gonna grab some McDonald's or whatever fast, right? So I think we grabbed some fried chicken from someplace. I can't remember. But on the way home, we stopped by Wendy's, and that was horrendous, horrible burgers. But I didn't care. I'm just like, just get me the burger and a bad coffee, and I can just get in the car and drive home.
We stopped in Virginia to a Starbucks, and we were take a bathroom break, and the lady in front of us was kind of rude to us because there was a line forming at the bathroom. Anyway, she went to the bathroom and they came out, and she was kind enough not to flush the toilet for me. I was like, "Oh my God, are you kidding me?"
Oh,
but it's just it was okay.
So your wife experience. So this is her second convention.
Yes, this is her second convention.
So before we go on, let's say hi to Lord Tatman, Robert Finofrock, Deadpool, Yiki Yakety, Zerzus, JKG, Eric, Carl on bass is here as well.
Hey everyone.
And Yikity Yakety. Basically, the show, for those that just turn in, Patrick is busy with some personal business, and Dr. Von Schiller, he may pop in eventually. But basically, it's Anthony's show this week because I want to hear all his experience.
I will give them all to you, all the books I saw in due time.
Yeah.
But anyway, my wife's experience with this?
Yeah.
Okay. I think she enjoyed herself. I mean, it wasn't a crowded con. It was a busy con, but it wasn't crowded like the New York con. She's going to be going to that with me in October. It's going to be a completely different experience. But anyway, with this one, I think she enjoyed herself. The only time that she complained about anything was when we were back in the hotel room. She said she missed James, her son. But then when we got home, she didn't miss him too much because then he started screaming and throwing things and everything. And she's like, "Oh, I wish we could have stayed another day." I'm like, "What?" Yes. When we got there, you said that you couldn't wait to get home.
She's like, "Where is the elephant tranquilizer?"
we need one. If you know somebody that has one, please give it to us.
That's my thing.
When you hear banging at this door, that's him. His head.
He's coming in. It's Johnny.
Yeah. Instead of using an axe, he's using his head. But anyway, that was the only thing that she said. I think she enjoyed herself. We were there, obviously, with Patrick and his friend Mike and his friend Mike's friend, Carol.
Girlfriend.
Girlfriend. So she sort of went off with her for a while. She was very chatty and talkative. She's a good personality. So she hit it off with Jen and allowed me and Patrick were practically attached to the hip, whether he wanted to or not. but we went looking around. We got approached by several YouTubers and people that watch YouTube. It was very nice. A family of people, a bunch of others. Bianchi, that's his name is Carl. A lot of nice people, and that's always pleasant to run into people like that.
The first time you met Bianchi in person?
That was the first time, yeah. And I believe he's from New Jersey, like me.
So he approached you and said, "Reaper."
He said Anthony.
He said Anthony.
Yes, and that's always a plus.
Yeah.
When someone knows your name. I got people call me Reaper and so forth, which is cool too. I wouldn't call myself Reaper Tate if I didn't mind being called Reaper. But
hey, that's the douche. Okay, that's the douche.
That's pretty much. I tried to say in my video before I went. I'm not that mean. Believe it or not, listening to me in some of my videos and this chat, I'm not really that mean. You could approach me and say hi if you want. Yeah. But no, my wife, again, she had a good time, I believe. So I think the first time she went 4 years ago, it was kind of like, what is this place? Mm-hmm. But as for people dressed a cosplay, I got a couple pictures I put in my video. Some pretty cool cosplay. The guy who played Heimdall, or whatever his name. Heimdall. That was a damn good costume. The way he had the Tesseract lit up, I'm like, oh, shit. That's great. But there were a lot of cool people there. And, you had your other people dressed as Deadpool and, so forth and so on. But
I was surprised to see how not crowded it was. I have watched quite a few videos, and it's funny because, when I saw your video talking about how this is more comic-centric, just when after I watched the very first time your video, I saw another one that popped up in my recommended thing, and it was a bunch of guys going there to buy Funko Pops.
Oh God!
and in their videos, they show a place that had wall to wall to wall Funko Pop, and I'm just like, I thought Anthony said there was no toys.
No, there were even a couple games there. Too bad they sucked, but yeah, there were. But it really, I think the places that had the Funko Pops also had comics too.
Yeah, there was a couple there's a couple YouTubers that have like thousands and thousands of subscribers. They were there hunting for Funko Pop of baseball mascot.
Oh, okay.
They are making Funko Pop everything. Before you
yeah.
know it, they're gonna be making Funko Pop of ETA Nick.
How about Don Mattingly? You'll buy that one, right?
I'm gonna call them up, email them, and say, "Hey, make me some Funko Pop."
No, wait. Now there's different variants of it. You got the red hat variant. You have the blue cap variant.
Yeah.
And the one with no hat, which is the rarer of the three.
Yeah, absolutely. So, her least. What if your wife had to say, "What's my favorite thing about the con," or "What's my worst thing?" What do you think she would say?
Oh, good question. I think the least favorite. I don't know if it's necessarily directed at the con as it is the long drive there. Because, when we both got out of the car, we were numb.
Yeah. Okay.
I was pretty numb, and I passed out at 10 o'clock, which is rare for me.
Would you consider flying like Patrick next time?
Probably. Probably.
Yeah.
But, I'm so deathly afraid of airplanes, although I have flown many times before. But, yeah, I think that would be her least. Her favorite? I think... I don't know. That's a good question. I think she enjoyed it because I enjoyed it, and I think if I enjoyed it, it only enhanced her experience there. But wait, I think another least favorite, other than the drive, I think we were there from the time they opened until the time they closed. So I think by the time we were both, like, our backs were hurting and so forth and so on. So I'd probably say that because that was my least favorite part of it.
Now, did you all stay at the same hotel?
Me and we stayed at the same hotel with Mike at the Westin, which is attached to it. Patrick was staying with relatives, which weren't too far away. But here's a funny story. I didn't put this in the video. I had the 4 books that I purchased. I had in a cardboard box, and we were getting ready to go. So we stopped at Starbucks, and I left it there, and found out I left it there when I was on the highway.
Ooh.
And I was panicking, to say the least.
Oh, wow.
But as I was driving, my wife called security. We were only like maybe 5 minutes away. I raced back there. I ran like a bat out of hell back into the Westin, and it was there. They were holding it for me. Wow. As you know, inside that box was the first appearance of Dr. Doom, first appearance of Man-Bat, for Origin of the Crypt Keeper, and the first appearance of the Old Witch. And man, I was in bad shape.
That is almost as bad as leaving Little Reaper behind.
Yeah, I guess so. I'm sure. Listen, if we would have left Little Reaper behind, I'm sure the hotel would be calling us saying, "Your son is chewing through our counter. Can you please come pick him up?"
If you were leaving Reaper behind, your wife would be like, "Step on the gas, go north faster." I swear, do not turn around. Do not turn around.
Little Reaper is like a termite. He eats furniture. There are bite marks on some of our furniture that we're going to have to get rid of eventually. But yeah, that was the best, the favorite, and the least favorite. But I really enjoyed the con. There were a lot of dealers there that I normally don't see. I guess that makes sense because it's more of a southern.
Like what? Like who? Like.
I've never seen somebody called the Gator. I don't know his name. He's called the Gator.
Yeah, it's the guy from the Panhandle.
Yes.
It's Rick. His name is Rick something.
Yes.
Rick White. Rick Weisford. White. I Tech 31 kid know him very well. He's a big time member of the CGC forum.
Yes. That footage I had in my video was from his place. He had everything, Nick.
He has at one point he would have a short box of Tech 31. He would have like 5 copies of Amazing Fantasy 15 on the wall.
Amazing Fantasy 15, forget about it. He had I took a close up of this book in particular for you. Captain America 3, Captain America Comics 3, 7.5 Blue Label.
Yeah, Rick. At one point, his nickname on the CGC forum is Gator because he's a graduate of University of Florida, the Gator.
Oh, okay. I thought he was called the Gator for something else.
Yeah, he has a shop in the Panhandle, in a big shop with a big Silver Surfer statue.
Oh, okay.
In fact, he's the one that bought my Amazing Fantasy 15 6.5 many years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But he has I think many copies of Action 1 and Tech 37 have went through his hands.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
wow. I believe it. I believe it.
Yeah, he usually share a booth with Filter 81.
Mm.
The guy he's from Buffalo, Rochester.
Okay.
Yeah, in fact, the last time I saw those two together was at Comic-Con in San Diego. They share the same booth. And from what I heard, they still share the same booth in many cons. So was there. Did you see Dale Roberts, right?
Dale Roberts, where do you think I got this bad boy from?
Now, have you seen Dale Roberts? Yeah, have you seen Dale Roberts in New York or New Jersey con?
I have not, but I heard he goes to it. I heard he goes to the New York con.
He goes to all of them because he's from Kentucky.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, see?
I saw Bob Storms there, and he was just as friendly as ever.
Really?
I think he actually looked up at me once for about 2 seconds before he went back down and started jotting something down on whatever the hell he was working on.
Bob Storm he's a nice guy, but he definitely is. He doesn't give out that warmth, friendly vibe.
No, he doesn't. But yeah, I wasn't looking for that anyway. But just
he's a nice guy. Like I said, I have so many things with Bob, and I must have said so many times, someday I would love to hang out with or meet you at a con because we do so much business. I buy from you many times. I consign many books with you, all that stuff. And he never expressed any excitement in ever meeting the ETA Nick.
Well, who could believe that?
It's just like, too bad you're not going to a HeroCon. Oh well.
Jeez.
Not my loss.
Nick, on record, we wanted you at Heroes Con. We would have loved to have seen you in action.
Maybe next year. Next year. We'll see. If my schedule was so. What other dealer did you see? Well, Holly Yee, I'm sure you see everywhere.
Oh yeah, I was talking with him. He's an interesting man.
Yeah, he's been around forever.
He had some good stuff. I like Dale, but getting back to Dale Roberts, he had some great stuff. He had a lot of great stuff. As you know, the Gator had a lot of great stuff. I saw Worldwide there.
Okay.
I purchased this butte from my boy Ted. Super World.
Yeah, Ted. Yeah.
He was nice. They're always nice. From my experience, at least. I saw this other guy. I don't know his name. He's from the region, but he seemed a little. I don't know. A little bit. He had a lot of good stuff, but he seemed a little nasty. He had, from what I was told, he had prices on his books on the wall. And then if you go and say, yeah, I want to get this, then he looks the price up again in the guide to see if it's the correct price or whatever, because supposedly the prices have not been changed.
Mm.
But he was talking to somebody that was a little hard of hearing, like practically deaf, and just the way he was talking to him and stuff like that, it just was a turn off for me. But he had some pretty good stuff. I wish I knew his name though, but Patrick probably knows exactly who I'm talking about. I saw a guy that I bought from previously, Ditko Club. His name is Darren. Mm. He's usually at Heroes Con and from what he told me, and New York Con. I enjoy seeing him. Very nice guy. Ditko Club, naturally, he specializes in Amazing Spider-Man stuff. And
I wonder, that big dealer that passed away recently. What's his name?
Yeah. Not Payette. What's his name? I know who you're talking about though.
Yeah, but was his daughter there?
I don't know. I don't remember seeing her.
Okay,
if she were there,
he usually has some crazy books on his wall. But yeah, I mean, for sure, I have seen, WW Comics Worldwide. Okay, they've been around forever.
Yeah, they had a pretty. I saw Greg Reese.
Yep, he's been around now. Greg Reese is getting bigger now than ever. For those that does not know Greg Reese used to be he used to be like a one man shop, right? And now his two sons is working with him, so they are his booth, his inventories are twice or three times the size it used to be, say 5 years ago, 10 years.
He seemed like he's a pretty. I see him all the time at these cons. He seemed like he's pretty nice.
Yeah, he remind me of, you know who he remind me of? Silver Age Dave.
Oh, well, how so?
Well, you know, from me seeing him or remember, you know, Greg, he just remind me of Silver Age Dave as far as the way they look.
Okay. I didn't. Yeah.
Yeah, trust me. If you pay attention to Greg Reese, if you go to Greg Reese website, you see a picture of him, and he can stand in for Silver Age Dave.
Maybe it is Silver Age Dave. It's his alter ego. I saw Anthony Snyder.
Oh yeah. Oh god. His booth is always massive, right?
It's always massive. It's sometimes a little messy with all the artwork just around and so forth. I guess he's okay. I mean, you know, I've seen him several times. I've talked to him several times. He seems a little rough around the edges.
Yeah, I have never bought from him. I have seen his booth and his original art stuff. You know, I'm familiar with it. You know, I'm sure you've seen it. You know,
yeah.
It just, I can tell you the people that I have never bought from. I have bought from Dales Robert. I have bought from Holly Yee. I have tried to buy from WW. I bought many times from Ted.
Yeah.
I have dealt with Rick.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to remember what Rick's name of his shop is. New Force.
Oh yeah. That's right. Yeah, New Force.
Yes. I just see my old brain is slowly working. It's Rick Whitelock. Okay.
Yeah, I don't remember his last name, but I remember New Force because I remember seeing the
New Force. It's Rick used to be very active on the CGC forum because he didn't for a long time. He just go to conventions. He did not have a store.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think 6 years ago, or maybe around 6 or 7 years ago, he decided to do full-time, like open a store and, you know, would be a full-time thing instead of just like go to the con like 6 or 7 times a year.
Mm-hmm.
To the big con like San Diego Comic Con or New York Con or Heroes. So he's less active now than ever because, you know, when you run a shop, a lot of things going on. You can't be on the CGC forum posting 100 times a day.
Yeah.
But he has good stuff. You know, if you're looking for golden age books.
Oh jeez.
He
had it. He had a first appearance of the Riddler 2.0. He had multiple copies of the first appearance of the Red Hood. He had the syringe detective. I forget what number that is. I mean, you should know. You already have it. But he had that. Obviously, Captain America #1, Amazing Fantasy, Tales of Suspense, tons of Fantastic Four 1s and 5s. Okay, yeah. He had first appearance of Dr. Fate.
If you get to know him and listen to his story, he can tell you a story how he know people. He know a guy that have a short box full of Amazing Fantasy 15.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Raw, you know, books that the guy had for like 30 years. You know, I mean, it's and I'm sure Rick would love to buy those books slowly off this guy.
I'll bet.
You know, Rick has no shortage of sources to provide him high grade Silver Age keys like X-Men 1 9.0 or whatever. You know, he has. Like I said, he's a big time. I think he's very well known. That if you are going to sell a big collection, he would be one of the name that you want to approach because he has the money. You know, he's not going to be one of these dealers. It's like, I can't afford the 6-figure collection. He'd be like, you have a collection that's for 6 figures, bring it. Bring it.
Yeah. Well, good. That's great. But he certainly looks like he has the money to
Yeah,
buy him, because from looking at the books he had tons of them.
yeah,
Tons of them. I
great,
was
great
like,
people.
ugh.
So, what's the nicest book that you saw at the convention? Like the nicest one where it was like, wow, if I can have the money to buy that, I'm sure it's at Rick booth.
Probably was. The nicest book. Oh my God. That honestly, that Captain America 3 looked pretty nice.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I would go with the Tech 168 or something like that, or the Tech, the syringe one or whatever. But honestly, the surprise was that Captain America 3 in such nice shape, unrestored, not restored.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's a shocker, because you could see, the Tech syringe. I forget what number it is. You could see them low grade. You could see them restored.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But that Captain America 3 in such high grade, perfect, beautiful shape, no restoration, you don't see them too much.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very impressed with that. Very impressed.
And Scott requested he want me to zoom in sometime. And you notice I switched up the poster in the back. For those,
I just noticed now that you brought it up to me.
Yeah, it's overdue.
Is it the UV rays?
Well, after we had that chat, I'm just like, I think those been around for about 6 months now. I think I need to switch it up. So
yeah,
I have the whole set. So I'm just like, why not? Let's switch it up.
Yeah.
These are not my favorite. The 4 original one that was on the wall are my favorite. That's why they were up first. But yeah, let's see what else. I got a question from. If you have any questions,
I do. But let's hear your questions first.
Well, one of the viewers were asking me about, what will I consider low, mid, and high grade. And
well, I already know the answer that you would give. Anything below a 9 is a low grade for you, right?
And do I consider, like some of the things that get people to debate occasionally in a hobby is just like, let's say, Detective 31, a very tough book to find in any level, in high grade. So when you see like a 6.0 copy, assuming that there's a 6.0 copy floating around, people say, oh, that's high grade for that book. I tend to say, no, it's still mid-grade. I'm one of these people that say, a 6.0 is mid-grade, even if there is nothing high for that book. Okay, I'm one of these people that are absolute. I mean, if something is a 2.0, I don't care if that's the only 2.0 in the world. It's low grade.
Oh yeah.
I'm not gonna say, oh, because there's nothing higher than 2.0, it's high grade for this book. No, it's a 2.0. So for me, my answer to the person that asked the question is I consider 8.5 or higher high grade. Okay. So a lot of 8.5 books look really nice.
Yes.
And as far as mid grade, I go with 5 to 8. And then as far as low grade, 4.5 or lower. And as I explained, I do not buy into the nonsense that people are like, oh, that book is high grade for this. A 5.0 is high grade for this because there's nothing higher. That's like me saying that, guess what? I'm short in any world you live in. Unless I'm living in Oompa Loompa land.
Do you know people that actually go by that? Like, well, this is 5.
Trust me, I had many debates with many friends, collectors over the many years that, for this book, it's so tough to find anything higher than a 4.5 or 5.0. So if you see a 4.0, that's high grade. No, it's not. It's mid grade. Okay, it's not high grade. It's
I agree.
It's something just because it's rare, it's still low grade. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying that, oh my God, it's 4.0. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying that it's absolute as far as term low, mid, and high.
Yeah.
There is no relative stuff. Just like me, like I said, I'm short no matter what world I live in. I don't live in Oompa Loompa land. Okay? There's no Oompa Loompa land here that I can be the tallest person there.
No, I agree. Yeah, if 6 is a 6, it's not high grade or because there's a limited amount of them out there that might be higher. No, I agree. 6 is a mid-grade book. Absolutely.
Yeah. So that was a question I had, and and to me, it's the same with all ages. Like to me, if a book is, if I say something is a 5.0, it's the same standard applied to modern to golden age.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not one of these people that say, oh, because it's golden age, I'm gonna give it a little more leeway, and no, it
is what it is.
It is what it is. It's absolute. Okay.
Yes.
Now CGC might disagree with me. Okay. And that's fine. Like I said, I have many debates with many people over the years over this, so it's not as if like I'm right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what's your question? You have your question? Go for it.
I have a couple of them from down under. So let me get my cell phone and pick them up. Let's see. Today, Errol asks, if a comic book is worth an X amount of dollars, let's say $3,000 today, what makes it jump to, let's say, $7,000? So basically what he's asking is, what would make a comic book jump exponentially, like where it's more than double so quickly? I mean, I have an answer to that, but...
Well, outside of speculation,
Mm.
The biggest reason would be speculation.
Yeah.
The other reason would be catch up. For example, a perfect example would be, say, Tale of Suspense, 39.
Okay.
That book was underappreciated and undervalued for decades.
Yep.
Okay. And then until the success of Iron Man 1 came out, it shot up, it tripled value in literally a year or two. And it's steady go higher. But in situation like that, yes, because it was underappreciated, undervalued for decades. So in that situation, it can happen.
Mm-hmm.
Can that happen to something like Amazing Fantasy 15? No, that book has always been a steady riser for a long, long time. I don't see it happening. Now, is there something in the hobby right now that can double? I don't know. I mean,
do you have in your mind, maybe there's a book or two out there that you might feel is underappreciated? I have one in my head, but I think people are starting to catch up to it now.
Yeah, let me think. Now, if you asked me that question 6 months ago, I would say FF1 and X-Men 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
I remember 6 months ago, or even 8 months ago, when there was a talk about Disney buying Fox. I remember talking to a bunch of people, and I just say, buy your X-Men 1 now, buy your FF1 now, because it's going to go crazy. And it did. If you look at the price, they literally doubled.
Yeah, they did.
So a year ago, 6 months ago, I would say those that listened should have, could have. Now, is there anything else there that can? Surely, I think there is room for some Silver Age book to go crazy like that, but it's not going to be like, from 4,000 to 8,000 kind of thing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I can see books that go from like 500 to 1,000. Smaller tier books that do that. I wouldn't rule out something like the Inhumans. You know what I mean? People
Fantastic Four 45?
Well, think about this. Inhuman was a failure. That TV show, they flush it. Okay? They flush it. But does that mean that Marvel will never visit the Inhuman ever again? Hogwash. If the FF world blows up, say 2 years from now, where everything is hunky-dory and everyone's loving it, it would be silly to not somehow involve the Inhuman in future storyline. Right? Yeah. Or do a TV show the right way, right? Like I said, 2 years from now, Disney will be full on with their streaming service. So they know what failed. So there's no reason why they wouldn't revisit the Inhuman and do it right the second time.
Right.
So to me, it's silly to, if you own the Inhuman books because you love the FF, nothing wrong with that. I have them. Could I have sold and make a lot of money a year ago and then buy them back today? Hey, hindsight is 2020. But to me, it's I wouldn't I wouldn't advise anyone to say, oh, don't buy the Inhuman stuff because there's never going to be any TV show. Please, I wouldn't say that. I think if you buy FF45 or 36 or any one of those things, you never know. It could double in 5 years if the Inhuman somehow relaunched successfully. I think anything to do with the FF have a lot of potential.
I think it's starting to catch on. I think one that has a lot of potential is Fantastic Four #4. I think that has a lot of potential because if, like you were just saying, if everything's hunky-dory with Fantastic Four a few years from now, even today I've noticed that book is jumping. But if all goes well with Fantastic Four a few years from now, why wouldn't they have Namor show up somewhere along the line? I mean, I think it's bound to happen that characters like Namor and the Silver Surfer, which is another book that seems to be jumping right now, steadily going up. Once those characters make a debut somewhere down the line in some form, those books that are at least Fantastic Four, which is already kind of expensive, it's just going to shoot up where it's going to be difficult to afford, even if it cools down a little. I think those two books right there are very good books to try to get.
Speaking of Namor, no Submariner #1. Okay, as far as 1968, those books that launched in 1968, one of the cheapest book right now. I'm not going to say that Submariner #1 is going to be Tale of Suspense 39. Okay, no. Certainly what Patrick is saying, what Anthony is saying as far as the FF4, certainly that has a lot of potential, just as Submariner #1. Look at what Submariner #1 is today compared to what Iron Man 1 is prior to Tale of Suspense 39 took off. I can guarantee you go back and take Iron Man 1 was dirt cheap. Okay, like sub 100 cheap. And then now it's a mid-grade book is like $400, right?
Yeah. So you could probably get a good mid-grade Iron Man #1 before 2008 for like $75.
Correct. Just like Submariner #1 now.
Exactly like Submariner.
You can go out there and buy a nice copy, a 7.5 for under $100. Okay, or around $100, and that book can be a $400 in 3 years if Submariner is in.
I think it's only a matter of time before he shows up in something.
Yeah, I mean, if Aquaman caught on, Marvel would go full on. Okay, especially if they get the FF universe in their hands, because hey, if Aquaman is a success and technology is there to make all the underwater stuff look cool and look great and look real, it's easy for Marvel to copy.
Yes.
Okay, DC did all the heavy lifting already.
That's right.
It's a layup. It's a layup to put in Namor into the universe. So I'm glad you brought up that book because that was in my mind. I just glad you brought it up because I've been saying when it comes down to 1968 books, if there is one book that I think is underrated, it's in my underrated Silver Age keys. It's Namor 1, Submariner 1.
That's right.
It's very underrated because it's a lot. It's one of the book that is a lot more interesting than say Iron Man 1.
Yes.
Or Cap 100.
Or even Hulk 102.
Yeah, I mean, trust me, I have all those books, and I can tell you, I flip through Submariner #1 more often than the other books because the art is awesome.
I mean, you're right 100% with the Namor. It's very Submariner #1 right now. It's very cheap. Even Silver Surfer #1, which is a great book to have, that one's still kind of pricey. You could get probably a lower grade copy for like $120, $150, maybe. But Namor, Submariner #1, definitely out of the bunch, cheap, and you get a nice grade.
Yep. So hopefully we answered the question.
Yes. I think we did. I think we answered it very well.
So if you have another one, let's have it. Otherwise, we can segue into something else.
Okay. I got a couple here. Let me just take a look at which. Okay. What do you think? Are collectors today mostly focusing on investment books over got-to-have books for their collection? What do you think? Do you think that collectors today are more after books that are going to be worth something in the future, like that's their primary goal, or they're just like, well, I want to collect, but hey, if it's valuable, that's good too?
You want me to answer?
Yeah, by all means.
I think the aspect of investing is more prominent now than ever.
Yes.
And it's not a surprise because how can you ignore that aspect of the hobby now when things are so high priced?
Yeah.
You're talking about books. Just look at my Got the Hair weekly videos. And that's just a small sample size of what I decide to put in a 10, 12-minute videos. 5-figure books are flying off the shelf on eBay on a daily basis. Daily basis, okay? I mean, trust me, sure. If you scale the clock back 20 years, you know, back then, not that many people was willing to fork out $2,000.
Yeah.
I remember back in 1999 when I first entered eBay, the thought of spending $2,000 is like crazy, you know what I mean? So money has
nothing now. That's nothing now.
Exactly. 2000 is nothing now. 2000 can't even get you a Spider-Man 1.
Oh.
That's crazy. So as much as there are people that hate that, right? Because they love the hobby, they think that it's priced out of their reach, and they hate on this stuff. That's why, you know, there's a lot of guys that can't stand hearing slaps and value and all these things because they feel that it is robbing the fun of the hobby. I hate to break to those guys. It ain't going away. Okay.
It's not a fad.
It's not a fad. It's not going away. You can hate it all you want. You can thumbs out all the video that talk about slap because you hate slap, you hate this, and guess what? I hate you. You know, there's a lot of people that just can't stand the hobby the way it is today because it's not what it was 50 years ago. And I hate to say it, you know, it's just you don't have the hobby is not you. So anyone that think that, oh, you know, the hobby has changed and I hate it, guess what? You're nobody. You know, it's gonna keep changing, and I don't have any control over it. I go along for the ride. I don't agree with everything that's going on with the hobby, right? The thing is, what's wonderful about this hobby is there are so many different things for many different kind of people to enjoy.
Yeah.
Okay. And I don't understand the people that go around hating different things. Like, I don't understand variant. I don't understand modern market. I don't need to go there. I don't walk around say I hate variant. You know, and it's just like some people that, hey, if you don't like slab because you don't like it, that's fine. But why do you need to go around? I hate slab.
Yeah. I mean, you know, you collect the way you want to collect. If it's because you want to focus on investment, go right ahead. If it's because you like just collecting, go right ahead. If it's a mixture of both or whatever, it's up to you. You know, it's what brings you joy.
Yeah, I think that's the thing that, you know, that's what I try to focus on is I try to focus on the aspect of the hobby that bring me joy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't get joy going to the LCS every Wednesday to buy new books, so I don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
But for those that like to buy new books, read new books, enjoy new arts and all that stuff, good for you. You know, I don't hate all that stuff, but on the flip side, you know, those that just hating on different things, I'm just like, really? Focus on something positive for the love of God. You know, the hobby is not you, so I don't understand why you need to project what you think is the right thing to do it's just nonsense.
Yeah.
So I approach the hobby is that, so get back to your question, absolutely the money aspect, the investment aspect of this hobby is more prominent now than ever. And
Yeah.
I see this changing because love it, hate it, people don't spend $10,000 on a book for just the love of the hobby.
Right.
I hate to say it, okay? But if you plunk down $10,000 or $20,000 or whatever it is into a book, as my son would say, paper and ink, okay? You better have the word investment in the back of your mind as far as where that money is.
Yeah.
You know, it's not about, oh, I just love the book. I just love to have it. Okay. I'm not saying that I agree or disagree. I don't understand it. I'm sure, hey, if I'm a billionaire like Bill Gates and plunk down $10,000 on a New Mutant 98 9.9, I don't give a rat ass. I want bragging rights. In fact, if I was Bill Gates with that kind of money, I would call CGC. I want to create a category 10.1 so that I can have the big swinging, you know what. Okay.
And you'll see a lot more books that all of a sudden are getting 10.1s.
Yeah, I would go to CGC and get, slap me the highest grade copy of every keys because I want the BSD. So it's an aspect of the hobby that I am fully aware, but I'm also don't fully focus on. Okay, I have 3,000 plus books, and I can say probably 90% of them is not investment material. So it's not. For some people, it's purely about that.
Yeah.
Okay, there are people. I said the aspect of this hobby is, I talk about this in so many different videos. You have those that in it purely for the investment / profit money, right? And you have the opposite end where guys in it purely for the love of the art, the love of the paper and the ink, okay? And then a whole lot of us are somewhere in the middle. I consider myself in the middle, okay? Just like anything else in life, you have the right, the left, and then the moderate. I consider myself moderate in many ways, from political views to social view to the hobby.
To the comic views.
I am in the middle. I try not to be on the opposite end of anything. That's why I can't stand the word, I hate this, I hate that. I'm guilty of saying that sometime in the hobby, but at the end of the day, the hobby has so much positive things that I try not to focus on the negative stuff. Okay?
I think that was perfectly answered. Yeah, perfectly answered. I agree completely.
Thanks.
I try to be moderate too. I mean, sure.
I think for most people it's like that.
Yeah.
I think for most people, but I'm sure you and I, we have bumped into people on the opposite, on the extreme end, right? Because
the comic books are meant to be read. I've heard that many times.
I heard that so many times. Comics are meant to be read, and that's why you don't slap things and this and that. And I'm like, okay, or whatever. It's what can you do? The thing is, a lot of people are very guilty of crossing the line between this is my opinion into this is what I want you to do. Okay, a lot of people are guilty. Like, that's why, whenever I talk to people, I try my best to say, okay, this is just my opinion. This is how I do things. I don't want you to think that you should do it my way.
Right.
I know, and a lot of people, especially on YouTube, come across as, no, this is the way I want you to do things, because if you don't do that, I'm gonna thumb you down. I'm gonna call you an idiot. I'm gonna call you this, because
or a dick.
Yeah, I heard. Yeah. it's It's funny, Hey, you and I, we have our share of haters.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
I learned. I do my best to read those ugly comments and step away from the keyboard because the immediate reaction is to reply back with something snarky.
Yeah.
But then I'm just like, what's the point? It's all because often it only escalate.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And then it turned ugly. And then I'm like, well, I'm glad people in the chat room are having fun.
What's going on in the chat?
Well, people are talking about all kind of stuff. The great legend is in the house.
Hey, Rob.
Knights of Old is here. He said he's just back from France.
Oh, wow. Nice. Very nice.
Parlez-vous français, my friend?
That's right, Nick. You speak.
Oui, je peux parler français un peu. I mean, I used to be, for those that know me, that don't know my story, I used to be pretty fluent in French. In fact, when I first came to America, I had a French teacher follow me through from class to translate for me. She even went to the hospital to translate the doctors and me when I had a serious problem in the hospital. But as I gained my English,
you lost some of your French?
I lost a lot of it. I can still watch a French movie and TV show and skip most of the subtitle. That's why I don't mind watching French TV show on Netflix or Amazon, because for the most part, I don't need to read. It is annoying sometimes when you have to read every single word and they speak so fast and you're just like, damn it, slow it down. But yeah, I'm pretty good in French, and I enjoy listening in French. And Anthony took French last year at his 5th grade.
Oh,
but great. He's moving on to Spanish.
Yes, that's what Little Reaper, when he becomes of age, is good. That's gonna be his second language.
Yeah, he's Anthony have in his school they have once you get to 6th grade, you have second language path. You pick Chinese, you can pick French, or you can pick Spanish. And Anthony had decided he wanted to go with Spanish. I want him to go to Chinese, but it's like go to Chinese because they go conquer the world. You need to be Trump translator. Right there, I got hate. Okay, I'm sure somebody be like, oh, he mentioned the word Trump in his. Oh
boy, you're gonna get it now.
I mentioned the name Trump in one of my videos, and my God, sure enough, a bunch of a-hole had to show up.
Was that when when you mentioned the art of the deal or whatever? Yeah. Okay, yeah.
There was a bunch of idiots that had to chime in with their nonsense. Oh, why did you do that? You're gonna regret saying that.
Yeah.
I regret having you in my life. That's what I regret. I'm not regretting saying that word. I regret having idiots that watch the channel that think that there's something big going on. He used Trump. He mentioned Trump in his video. But anyhow.
Any other questions from anybody?
Let me see. David Valdez is here. David Valdez, he had a question. For those that David mentioned in the chat room where you are at, David asked me about presser and who I recommend. And I think David is in the US because he mentioned that he used somebody in Canada and it's so expensive to ship there. So I'm guessing that he is in the US. If you're in the US, David, you do not need to go to Canada. Okay, you don't need to side. You don't need to be an anti-Trump and side with Canada and send business to Canada. There are a lot of good presser in the US. I'm sure other people can recommend. So for those in the chat room, if you have a good name to recommend to David, send him. I recommend David.
Edwin, right?
Edwin, Strictly Comics.
Yeah, he's from what I've seen and from what I've heard, he's pretty good.
He's pretty good. If you see, Dr. Von Schiller is here. Howdy.
Hey, Doc.
Yes, David is New Hampshire. So David, you can use. Oh, well, I did. Let me know if you received my message because I sent you a list of like 3 or 4 presser. I'm not sure if you received it, but if you did, then that's the 3 or 4 names that I recommend. But there's a lot. 10 years ago there would be like 3 presser.
They're also a Midwest comic guy, Paul. He's also a presser.
Yeah, and then Lord of the Long Box.
Yeah,
His cohort, Dark Side Jedi.
Mhm.
The other guy that appear on his live chat every Wednesday 9 o'clock on his channel, Lord of the Long Box. He's also a professional presser that charge money. There's a couple guys in Florida that are also very good. So shop around. There's a lot of good pressers out there. You definitely don't need to go to Canada to get good service. Trust me.
The shipping, that's crazy.
Yeah, you don't need to do it. And if you're serious about doing it, learn how to do it yourself.
That's true. I often thought about
that.
It's going to take some time and it's going to take some research, but it's worth investing into.
Or fly to Sarasota and get a lesson from me.
There you go. When I'm in the state, I'm going to stop by, Nick.
Yes, if you ever visit Florida with little,
we are definitely
James. When James is old enough to be a little terror in Disney.
Jeez, he's already a terror.
Yeah, bring him to Florida. We will meet you. Orlando is only 2-hour drive from us.
That's a definite. But I don't know if you see Little Reaper, make sure you're wearing a cup.
Well, 2 years from now, he'll be very different.
I'm hoping.
I have known many little hurricane that calmed down.
But you have not met a Little Reaper.
He's a little monsoon. Or a typhoon.
Or it's a tsunami.
He's a tsunami and a typhoon together. But yeah. But David, if you still need my help as far as finding presser later, just email me. Okay, I can't stress enough because I still have people PM me with YouTube.
It's not good.
Do not do that. Please, I beg you, do not PM me with YouTube because I only go into private message once a week to make sure I don't miss anything. And sure enough, that's where I saw David questions. I'm just like, David, don't do that, please. You sent me a question a week ago. Anyhow, my email is on my channel profile. I put it there. So I don't know why so many people have a hard time finding my email address. It's there on my profile. Click on it. But I will mention it here. ETA Nick is my screen name. etanick@gmail.com.
Yeah,
it's not hard. Some people get mad at me like, oh yeah, why you make it big deal to give your email address? It's there. I mentioned it enough time. You watch my auction, I even show it. I just like I can't spoon feed people. Okay, my biggest pet peeve in life is spoon feed people. Okay, so trust me. Ask my son. I always tell him. It's the more you figure out how to figure out something without someone spoon feed you, the better off you are in life.
You'll be ahead of a lot of other people. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah,
as he gets older, because people are so used to getting spoon fed. Yeah. If you are a person that can work more independently, I'll tell you right now, you're going to be a hell of a lot ahead than other people.
Yeah, I mean, the funny thing is, for those that don't know my education background, I was a secondary education / math major. Okay, and I only did student teaching my senior year. I can tell you, I would be the worst teacher there will be. Okay, because like when you go through school, you always hear there's no such thing as a dumb questions. Right? I'm sure you heard that a million times everywhere growing up. There's no such thing as a dumb question. I'm the opposite. Every question is stupid.
Oh my God.
The answer is there, right there in front of your face. Think about it. It's there.
Yeah, I mean, I am a teacher, and believe it or not, I do get along with my students. But unless those that just you could just tell right from the start, they don't care about anything. They want to be spoon fed.
Mhm.
Then I'm not so nice.
Yeah, I mean, even with Anthony, my son, right? I often tell him that, whenever he have a question, I usually try to get him to find the answer without giving him the answer, because I want him to get that brain churning and trying to figure it out, because, it's about, thinking on your feet.
I think a lot of, from my experience, is some people just don't have that critical thinking or have not developed a lot of critical thinking skills. And believe me, those are just some of the major skills that you're going to need. I mean, we're talking to a bunch of adults in the room, in theory, but it's definitely something that I want my son to develop. Critical thinking skills at an early age. It's only going to help you in many ways.
It is, like a perfect example was today. Anthony had a problem with his headset. Like he played game with the headset and the mouth, the mic, and it stopped working. And he plugged around, reboot the computer, replug in everything. And after a while, I said, "Have you considered changing control?" Because he plugged the headset and the mic into the controller, right? I said, "What's wrong with your controller?" And guess what? He plugged it into a different controller and it works fine. I'm just, there you go. See, when something is not working, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over again. Okay, keep plugging into the same spot ain't gonna work. Yeah. Maybe it's the head, maybe it's a controller, but that's the kind of thing that I always trying to teach my son. Is just like you have to play out with things, test things out. It's not about, oh, it's not working, I don't know what to do.
And maybe it's actually something else related to it, not necessarily the actual thing, like you just said with the headphones. Maybe it's not the headphones. Maybe it's the controller jack. Maybe it's this. Maybe it's that. Rule out other things.
Yeah, because that's why it was very fun and for me and rewarding to build a PC with him, because he see all the problems that we had. And he understand all the steps, all the headaches, sometimes frustration I had. That's just like, okay, we just gotta unplug this, unplug this, unplug this, and when it finally worked, it was very rewarding because we built it with our own hands.
You know what else is pretty good for problem solving, as you probably know? Cooking.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday, I decided to make black bean burgers. And I realized that next time I make black bean burgers, I don't want to add cumin in it. I'm saying to myself, what the hell is that smell? And I'm like, oh shit. Because the recipe called for cumin. I'm like, okay, let's do it this way. All right. But then, just you figure things out along the way. Not everything is the same across the board.
Nice or old? Well, I got a couple questions here that we can answer.
Cool.
First of all, Carl on base have a question.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find his question. Sorry, Carl. If you are choosing between X-Men 1, mid-grade, 5 or 6, or lower FF, like a 2.0, which one would you choose? Mid-grade X-Men 1, 5 or 6, or FF1 2.0, which one would you take? Tough question, Carl, and here's my answer before Reaper answer, okay? I'm positive on both books, but I'm also positive on the look. So if the 2.0 look good for its grade, now I know some people hate that, okay? But presentable 2.0 compared to an ugly looking 5.0, that plays into the decision making, okay? So if you show me a 5.0 X-Men 1 that are yellow and tan and brown, compared to a bright and white 2.0 FF1, I will take the FF1 any day of the week.
Absolutely.
And vice versa, the same thing. I don't care if the FF1 it has more potential. But if it is yellow, brown, and yellow compared to a nice, bright, dark green X-Men one with a bright, blazing red,
come on, you need the dark green.
Yeah, you need the hard to find dark green.
You know, when I made that video, I was going to say something just to like give you a jab. I'll say, oh, this is the rarer of the two, right, Nick? But then I was like, oh, no. What happens if he actually believes I mean that?
No, I know you share my view that it's 50-50. You go on eBay and you can see the same thing. You know, I mean, I have, like I said, I have owned now 4 copies of the book, and it's 50-50. It's nothing special as far as, I mean, it's nicer to have a dark green.
I like the richer colors.
Yeah, to me, I put as far as X-Men 1, I put white cover as number 1 thing.
Oh yeah.
Number 2 would be the red X. Number 3 would be the dark green. So the dark green is nice, but I put it below the white cover and the bright red.
Yeah, my previous copy lacked both of those.
Yeah, it was deal with a faded X-Men 1 with a faded red. Cannot deal with that. Cannot deal with that. But yeah, so for me, the white cover is the most important thing. Same thing with the FF1.
Yeah. I agree with Nick, Carl, on that one. But if I had to choose a book, just for, I agree with Nick when it came to the look of it. When we were at the con, at the Heroes Con, we saw a 4.0 X-Men #1, but it had a rusty staple. So you got to take those things into consideration. I'm like, ugh, immediately that's just turned my stomach. But I would go with the nicer looking of the two. I think they both have potential. And from that point, just go with your preference. Okay,
Knights of O. I finally found the question that Knights of O asked. I had to scroll through a lot of text. What characters do you wish an artist did before they passed away or past their prime? One character that I wish Neil Adams did more work or any work on is Wolverine.
Oh, okay.
I love Neil Adams, but we all know he did not do anything that had to do with Wolverine. Okay. And I think if Neil Adams did Wolverine, it would be awesome. Because it's I love John Byrne Wolverine rendition, but I have a feeling that if Adams did Wolverine, it will be mind-blowing even today. Forget about his prime. Even if Neil Adams somehow do a one-shot Wolverine book, I would buy that hard.
Yeah, I think that's
the Knights of O.
That's a good one, Nick. That's a real good one.
Wolverine. I want Neil Adams on Wolverine, not a pin-up, not a little headshot he did on a con at the convention kind of thing sketch. No, I want a full-on Wolverine book by Neil Adams.
Well,
do you have a preference?
I do, but it probably doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And I think I talked about this last week. I would have loved to have seen what a Spider-Man would have looked like drawn by Graham Ingalls. I think it would have brought a different level, obviously a different level than what Ditko and Romita did. Probably a creepy level that may not necessarily fit that universe, but it's not necessarily just one character. I would have loved to have seen Graham Ingalls draw those early characters like the Vulture and Dr. Octopus, and being so familiar with his work, just seeing his take on those characters would really make them ghoulish. Mm-hmm. That's what I would have liked to see. Now, I know Spider-Man tends to be a little more upbeat. He's a teenager. He's going through financial problems and struggling with his powers and all that stuff. It doesn't necessarily fit the Graham Ingalls look, but that's only more reason for me why I'd like to see it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No.
Tell me a Graham Ingalls drawing the Green Goblin, like swooping down, stalking Spider-Man, wouldn't be creepy instead of that goofy ass looking Green Goblin that, no offense to anybody, that you saw in Spider-Man 14 with the broomstick or whatever.
You mean the goblin that drives the broom?
Yeah. He's turning it around. Like I mean, come on.
I love the Goblin, but my God, that image of in the cover with that broom like device that it's terrible. Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't the best.
Yeah, I mean, I like Ditko. I always said Ditko from 1 to like 17 is like magic. Okay, to me, the run from Amazing Fantasy 15 to issue 17, the second appearance of the Goblin, are like Ditko's finest work to me. But there is no question, some of the covers are not very good. Ditko is great, but I can say for myself, I'm not all thrilled with some of the early covers. It's not my thing. Ditko's strength has has always been the cover. I mean, but I'm sure some Ditko fan out there is enraged right now. How can he say Ditko does not do awesome covers? How dare him? Anthony, I think your mic is out.
How about now? There was this one panel in Amazing Spider-Man #1 that Ditko drew with Aunt May, where she went to go, trade in stuff to get money, and you get a close up of her face, and just the way Ditko drew her, she looked so friggin' old. She looked like she was 90 years old, and I was just thought that was like one of like the funniest panels I saw of him, because it just always seemed so odd why Peter's aunt and uncle were just so much older. Mm-hmm. It just never really fit for me, but I enjoyed the way he drew some of the interiors, in particular that one panel. But I agree with you. Some of the early covers, I think the Doc Ock #3, I think that was a good cover. Some may argue that the 11 was better. Maybe it was. I think those are two good ones. Dr. Octopus, I've always thought that he was more, of course, all the characters are drawn uniquely, but he's a very unique looking character. And I think Ditko really drew him in a way that really heightened that more so than Romita.
To me, Ditko made Spider-Man into something special. Just like Kirby made the FF into something special. I mean,
yes,
I think that's what makes Marvel magic so magical in the early days, because I think it seemed like the artists was able to capture the magic the same way the character was designed to be, made. Not maybe it's not intentional, maybe it's just complete accidental, but it works. It works. The quirkiness of Spider-Man, Peter Parker, with the quirkiness of Ditko translate well. I always love the way Ditko draws Spider-Man face. Mm-hmm. I like the way Ditko draws Spider-Man face the most. Okay, yes. I like the way Romita does with when Romita draw Gwen Stacy or
yes,
they're beautiful. Okay, but nobody's gonna argue that Ditko women as well as Kirby women are not beautiful. Okay, I mean, just look at, it's funny because Kirby did a whole lot of romance books in the 50s before he did, but I'm like, for some reason he just doesn't draw beautiful women like Romita does.
Yeah, Romita did a very good job with Mary Jane, Gwen Stacy, and obviously several others. He did. I agree.
And then but the way he draw Peter Parker with the big eyebrows, it gets it. I love looking at those early days, because I just love the way Peter's face is. He's more narrow. By the time Romita took it over, it became a handsome young man.
Yes. Yeah, he looked like he was like 25, 26 when he was only supposed to be like 18.
Yeah, Ditko draw the heavy eyebrow, like almost like unibrow kind of. And it works. It works for me. I always appreciate. I think that's when I start to appreciate Ditko. As I mentioned in the previous chat, I was not a big fan of Ditko in the early days when I first. But then when I start to collect Silver Age Spider-Man, then I'm just like, wow, I really like early Ditko stuff. And then when I saw his black and white magazine work that are just fantastic, that's when I'm just like, I really like Ditko. So my appreciation of Ditko changed over the many decades, from not to thrill about his stuff, to appreciate it, to really enjoying them. It's 8:19. Wow, just the two of us.
Yeah, wow.
Two of us. We carried the show for almost an hour and a half.
Who would have thought we could do it?
A lot of yapping. If nobody else have anything else to ask, we will call it the show. I think Doc is still here. Doc would like to see Mike Mignola doing Silver Surfer.
Oh,
good one, because I think he would, the way Mike Mignola drew, it would translate well into Silver Surfer. You know, some style translate well. Man, I would love to see Steranko doing stuff. I mean, Steranko on anything. You know, it's just one of those things where, you know, I'm kind of, it's one of perhaps part of what makes Steranko special, because he did so few works.
Yes.
Then
yes.
he stood out. It's much more special.
Yes.
Maybe.
And boy, did he do, like, opposite to Ditko, boy, did he do some fantastic covers, right?
Yeah. I mean, Steranko is the man.
Yes.
There's a lot of really fantastic authors that they do a lot of work. Like Steranko is one, and then Bruno. You know, he did so few work as well. You know, so few, but his work are fantastic. But they make more money doing something else.
Yeah, that was the gist of what Steranko was talking about in one interview, that he made a lot of money. What was he in advertising?
Same thing with Neil Adams.
Yeah,
Neil Adams made a lot of money doing commercial work, whether it's for poster or for something else. Just like Bill Sienkiewicz. Bill Sienkiewicz did a lot of work, commercial stuff that we don't see. Same thing with Neil Adams. Neil Adams did a lot of commercial stuff that we don't see. But it paid the bills. It paid better than drawing comic books, that's for sure. You know, otherwise he'd be doing comic books. But, you know, so in many ways, I think that's what makes Steranko special, because he did so few, and it's special.
And it still resonates today. You see him at cons. I saw him at the Heroes Con, and, you know, he's still looked up to as this awesome artist, and rightfully so.
Now, is he still a dabber dresser?
Yeah, and he's got, you know, believe it or not, he's got a thicker head of hair than I do.
Yeah, he is all silver, right?
All silver.
You know what he remind me of? He remind me of the collector of Guardian of the Galaxy.
Oh, yes. Well, you hit that right on the head. He looked, yeah.
He's like, is that Benicio del Toro
with a wig on,
with the glasses and the big white hair? I'm like, that's the dude from the Guardian of the Galaxy. You know,
can I get a picture with you, Benicio?
Yeah, he's a dabber looking dude, that's for sure.
He is. I think he's all about fitness too, and eating right and all that stuff. I think I read an interview where he's like that.
Well, anyhow, I think we can call it the day.
Yeah, it was a good chat.
Thank you, everybody, for shining in. And we will tune in next week. I think, well, Patrick said that he will be out next week as well.
Yes. So I guess it's going to be me and you, Nick.
And maybe Dr. Von Schiller.
Maybe Dr. Von Schiller.
Yeah. But for now, we call it a night.
Take care, everyone.
Everybody.
Thanks for watching.
I appreciate everybody enjoying my new series, Underrated Silver Age Books. There are plenty more. I already shot 6 episodes. So.
Oh, geez. Boy, you're really ahead. I got to shoot a couple more videos tonight or tomorrow.
Yeah. So, yeah. Well, the thing is, whenever I launch a video series, usually it's because I have so many already piled up.
Okay.
You will never see me launch a series with only one, because I'm just like, if I run out of ideas after the first one, why bother start a series?
Yeah.
All right. So later.
Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay.